Call to order this regular meeting of the Lincoln Lancaster County Planning Commission of October 10th, 2018. A printed agenda is available outside the hearing room, and a copy of the full agenda, including the staff reports, is available at the front of the chambers with the clerk. The Open Meetings Act is posted just inside the doors at the back of the room. If you parked in the parking garage across the street to the north, please be sure to pick up a parking coupon on your way out for free parking, although I think I heard that the gates are up. Okay. At this time, I would like to welcome Planning Commissioner Dick Campbell, who is participating in his first hearing today. Dick was appointed to fill the seat held by Chris Hove, who recently resigned. Out of courtesy for those attending this meeting, the commissioners and the staff, cellular phone usage is not permitted in these chambers during any portion of this meeting. We appreciate your cooperation. Please note that the Planning Commission action is final on agenda items 1.1, Comprehensive Plan Conformance 18016. Any aggrieved person may appeal final action of the Planning Commission to the City Council or County Board by filing a notice of appeal with the clerk within 14 days following the action of the Planning Commission. The first item of business today is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held September 26th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved. Finnegan.
Second, Edgerton.
Please call the roll.
Okay. Campbell?
Yes.
Edgerton?
Yes.
Finnegan?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Joy?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Core?
Yes.
Shear.
Yes.
Motion carried 8-0. And I would just note a correction. The final action item is item 1.1, but it's Comprehensive Plan Conformance 18014 rather than 16.
Thank you. The next item of business is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda will be called at the same time and will not be scheduled for a separate public hearing unless there is a request from someone wishing to speak or at the request of a commission member. I'll ask Jerry to read all of the consent agenda items into the record. Once those items are read, she will ask if there is anyone wishing to speak. If you wish to speak on any item on the consent agenda, we would ask that you stand and state that item. That item will then be removed from the consent agenda and scheduled as a separate public hearing under Section 3 of today's agenda. All items remaining on the consent agenda will be voted upon in total with a motion for approval. Jerry, will you please call the items on the consent agenda?
Yes, but before I do that, I want to retract everything I just said. I'm sorry, it is final action on Comprehensive Plan Conformance 18014. Okay.
16.
6.
Or 16. I'm sorry, geez.
1.2.
1.2. So that's where the correction was, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, consent agenda. Item 1.1 is Comprehensive Plan Conformance 18014 to review as to conformance with the Lincoln Lancaster County 2040 Comprehensive Plan, a request to declare two properties near Arnold Elementary School as surplus on property generally located at Northwest 48th and West Cummings Streets. Item 1.2 is Comprehensive Plan Conformance 18016 to review as to conformance with the 2040 Lincoln Lancaster County Comprehensive Plan, a proposed conservation easement to preserve flood storage capacity and natural resources of the easement area on property generally located between 56th and 70th Streets and between Fletcher Avenue and Arbor Road. Again, this is final action on this item unless appealed to the City Council within 14 days of today's action. Item 1.3A is annexation 18007 to annex approximately 46.37 acres, more or less, on property generally located north of Van Dorn Street, or approximately 88th to 98th Streets. And the associated changes zone, which is item 1.3B, from AG to R3 planned unit development to expand the Wandering Creek PUD to add additional residential area with waivers located on approximately 134.42 acres, more or less, generally located north of Van Dorn Street, approximately 88th to 98th Streets. And the final action, or final item, is item 1.4, changes zone 18028 from B3 to H2 business district on property generally located at North 44th and Q Streets. I would note that are revised conditions that were submitted to the Planning Commission members per a memo dated yesterday that were offered by the applicant and agreed upon by staff associated with this change of zone 18028. Are there any ex parte communications to be disclosed on these agenda items?
I see none.
Is there anyone here wishing to speak on any of these consent agenda items? If so, please stand and state that item.
1.1.
Okay. So we'll call you later.
We'll call that under, as a separate public hearing as item 1, or 3.1.
Okay, anything else? If not, we will entertain a motion for the remaining items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, please call the vote.
Okay, and this would include the revised conditions to?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Campbell?
Yes.
Edgerton?
Yes.
Finnegan?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Joy?
Yes.
Washington?
Yes.
Core?
Yes.
Shear?
Yes.
Motion carried 8-0.
There are no requests for deferral, so we will now proceed to public hearings. The staff will make a brief presentation. The applicant will then be requested to present his or her testimony, followed by those who wish to testify in support, followed by those who wish to testify in opposition. The staff will then be given an opportunity to respond to the testimony, and then the applicant shall have an opportunity for rebuttal. If during your testimony you have copies of documents or materials you would like distributed to the Planning Commission members and or included as part of the record, please provide that information to the clerk for distribution. Each person testifying should state their name and address and shall have 5 minutes to speak unless additional time is requested and granted. The timer will go off after 4 minutes. Then you will have 1 minute to wrap up your testimony. The Planning Commission will vote immediately at the close of the public hearing unless the Commission votes to defer action or continue the public hearing. Jerry, please call the first public hearing item.
Okay, item 3.1 is Comprehensive Plan Conformance 18014 to review as to conformance with the Lincoln Lancaster County 2040 Comprehensive Plan, a request to declare 2 properties near Arnold Elementary School as surplus on property generally located between Northwest 48th and West Cumming Streets. Staff recommendation is conformance with the comprehensive plan. Are there any ex parte communications to be disclosed?
I see none. Paul.
Good afternoon. Paul Barnes, planning staff. This afternoon we have a request before you that's a comprehensive plan conformance to surplus 2 parcels of property. This is a request that comes to us from the Lincoln Airport Authority, and I do have a map that I'll show you to point out these parcels. They are together about 21 acres, as Jerry had stated, in proximity of Northwest 48th and West Cumming Street. So we have a smaller parcel located here and then a larger to the west. This is Arnold Elementary, Northwest 48th Street, and then West Cumming Street would be located here. I guess I'll also note on this map the smaller parcel to the north of the school is zoned R5 residential, and the larger parcel to the west is R3 residential. In the future land use map, both of these are shown as residential parcels, and they are in priority A of tier 1 growth tier. There was a transfer of property in 2007 from the airport authority to the city. Then the city actually transferred a portion of that property to LPS so the school could be built. At the same time, there was an agreement between the airport authority and the city for these remaining parcels. And that agreement said that in the future, if the airport had an interest to sell off these parcels for development, that they would approach the city and begin the surplus property process. The airport authority's request is to surplus these parcels, so that's what we're reviewing today. As part of our standard procedure for surplusing property, we notify all city departments and agencies, and in that communication we found that no one objected to this request or had a future use for the property. So we are recommending to you that this is in conformance with the comprehensive plan, and I can answer any questions you have.
Questions? I don't see any.
All right,
Thanks. applicant? Anybody, you want to say anything? No? Okay. So we'll move then to those in support of this item. Testimony in support.
I guess I've got a question whether I'm in support or against. I'm really
Fine.
neutral.
Do it now, that's fine.
Okay. Robert Kozolka, live at 1935 A Street, Lincoln, Nebraska. And I'm presenting here verbally what has already been submitted to you for the record, but we felt it was important to also make it a part of the verbal transmission of this particular meeting. And I'm speaking on behalf of John Oberg, who owns property at 5840 West Superior Street, which is the property just across the road from one of the parcels that you're looking at today. And so I'll be reading his statement. The appearance of this item on the agenda provides the occasion to note that a new advisory committee has been established to consult on matters pertaining to the future of 9 Mile Prairie and its environs. The two parcels at issue are on the edge of a greater contiguous 9 Mile Prairie ecosystem. The advisory committee, which reports to the Vice Chancellor for Agricultural and Natural Resources, includes members from the Institute of Ag and Natural Resources, which is the current manager of the 9 Mile Prairie, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Lincoln Airport Authority, Lower Platte South NRD, the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, the City of Lincoln, private landowners, and citizens. It held its first meeting in September, and matters such as land use, conservation practices, easements, land trusts, and donations to public purposes are topics of the advisory committee, which is constituted to address a broad range of interests and has been established to consult and help coordinate among affected parties. I am not a member, but thoroughly support their future engagement in all matters that may affect the 9 Mile Prairie environs. And that's a statement by John Oberg, not by me.
Okay.
But I'm giving it to him.
Okay, very good. Questions for Bob?
Bob, on his property, does he have a conservation easement on it?
Yes, he does not have conservation easement, but actually, and I can't speak in great detail about it, but there is an agreement between he and the University of Nebraska related the future of that property.
Okay.
So a conservation easement. The properties around there, one of them does have conservation easement that would be within a section of the 9 Mile Prairie. The others haven't, and I think, of course, that's one of the things the advisory committee should look at.
Mm-hmm. Other questions?
Can
Sandra?
you point out where the 9 Mile Prairie is?
Yes. This is on your name? Okay. Yeah, I don't have a better one.
Yep.
This doesn't have a big one. It's well, here. No, that's not a good one either.
They won't be in there. Let's put it on there for a second. So David Carey with the Planning Department. So the 9 Mile Prairie is off to the west here,
Okay.
about a half mile from the properties that we're looking at here. Paul is going to see if he can get to the viewer really quick here, that we might be able to provide that. But so effectively, what this is some of these properties that Bob was referring to just now are these areas that are open for discussion moving forward for purpose of what might happen with 9 Mile Prairie and potential expansion of some of the preservation of land out there. So not directly applicable to these parcels, but in a bigger scheme. And we, as the planning department, have conveyed our interest in being part of that discussion, probably for the purpose of the next update of the comprehensive plan in particular.
The property that the Obergs have is this one right here. So that gives a little better proximity to it.
Thank you.
Okay. And Paul has
Oh, there we go.
Does that help out?
Pull it up.
Whoever
It does. Thank you.
Okay. Clear?
We good? You need
Yeah.
for Paul to point this out?
I'm just curious now, since you've got the map, where I can see this.
So this is Northwest 48th, West Cumming, Arnold School. We're talking about one parcel that's located here, and then one to the north. And then off of West Fletcher, if you want to point out, Bob.
Yeah, can we move this over a little?
Sure, just click and drag. There you go.
You're saying that to someone who doesn't use
Great.
Okay, this is what, 9 Mile Prairie is roughly this land right here. And then this is the school, okay? This is the property the Obergs have. This is this land is under conservation easement. And this is actually land owned by the University of Nebraska and is their outdoor recreation challenge course. So does that, and then this incursion here is Airport Authority land, which contains bunkers that stored special warhead during the various facilities. So does that help?
It does, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone opposed to this item that wishes to provide testimony? Those in opposition? No? Okay, any staff questions? Questions for staff? Okay, and there's no applicant rebuttal, I don't think, because we're sort of all on the same page here. So I think we're ready to entertain a motion.
Move conformance, core. Second, Edgerton.
Discussion?
This seems appropriate. Went back and looked at those attachments, and it's well within the authority of the airport to take these parcels and develop them.
I think the fact that it was on consent agenda says a lot about the validity of us approving this. Thank you for reading what you did, Bob, into the record, though. I think that's a good addition. So with that, I think we're ready to vote.
Okay, this is for finding of conformance. Campbell,
Yes.
Edgerton,
Yes.
Finnegan,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Joy,
Yes.
Washington,
Yes.
Core,
Yes.
Shear.
Yes.
Motion carried 8-0.
At this time, anyone wishing to speak on an item not on the agenda may do so. If not, we are adjourned. Thank you.